He says it's a loud voice, and he identifies it as God.
Wow.
And the message is like super direct.
Like what?
He says that the voice told him, "You will die, but I have things for you to do."
Oh, wow. That's pretty intense.
It is, right?
But
Like, I mean, you're facing death and you're being told that you're going to die, but then there's this other part of the message, you know?
you still have things to do.
Right, like it's kind of a contradiction, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Like, how can you be dying but still have a purpose? You know?
Yeah, exactly. It really challenges your thinking from the very beginning.
Yeah, like right off the bat, this experience is messing with your expectations.
Absolutely. And then the instructions get even more practical, you know, like
Tactical.
yeah, like he's told to go inside, pack a bag, and get ready to go to the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it makes you wonder about these experiences, you know, like even in this really serious situation, he's still able to follow these instructions.
Yeah, he's obviously still thinking clearly enough to act.
Right, exactly. So he calls an ambulance, and on the way to the hospital, the paramedics, you know, they're giving him morphine and nitroglycerin, trying to stabilize him.
Trying to get that blood pressure down.
Right, exactly. And it seems like it's pretty soon after this, you know, this medical intervention that his near-death experience really starts.
Okay, so like he was kind of aware of things before.
Yeah, he describes this weird feeling, you know, like his awareness is kind of shifting,
Mm-hmm.
and then he says he's floating in this darkness.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but he's still conscious. You know, he's still aware of what's happening around him.
So like he can still perceive the world even though he's in this darkness.
Yeah, exactly. But this peaceful feeling, you know, it doesn't last.
Oh, no.
No, it takes this really scary turn.
By how?
Well, as he's floating in this dark void, he suddenly gets hit with this wave of fear.
Oh, man, that's awful.
And he starts to feel like he's sinking, you know, like falling into deep water.
Oh, geez.
And he looks down and he sees this incredibly deep black emptiness that seems to just go on forever.
Oh, that's terrifying.
It is. It's like staring into the abyss, you know?
Yeah, I can see how that would be terrifying.
Absolutely. And so in that moment, you know, of just pure fear, he does what feels natural to him. He cries out for help.
Oh, well.
And he cries out in the language of his faith. You know, he says, "Jesus, come and help me. Come and save me. I need your help."
Wow, so powerful.
It is. And almost immediately after this desperate plea, something happens. Something intervenes. Yeah, a hand reaches out and grabs his wrist.
Oh, wow.
And he hears a voice that says, "You don't want to go that way." And he's pulled upwards away from that terrifying void.
Wow, so like a direct intervention.
Yeah, exactly. Like he was heading in a bad direction and someone or something stepped in to redirect him.
So who pulls him out?
Well, he then sees the one who rescued him, and he describes him as a man in a white robe.
Okay, so very simple description.
Yeah, but powerful, you know, in its imagery.
Right.
And then the ascent that follows is super fast, you know?
Yeah, like beyond our ability to imagine.
Yeah, he says that everything around him just became a blur.
Wow.
And then just as suddenly as it started, the movement stops, and this feeling of stillness just kind of descends.
Mm.
His vision clears, and he finds himself in the presence of a group of beings, and he perceives them as angels.
So these are not your typical angels?
No, not at all. He emphasizes their beauty, their height, and this gentle glow that emanates from them.
Okay.
He says there are about 6 or 7 of them.
Wow, that's a lot.
It is, but what really stands out is how they communicate.
Oh, yeah. How do they communicate?
So there's no like spoken language, you
Right.
know. He says that he could sense their thoughts and that they were aware of his.
So like telepathy?
Yeah, kind of like that, like a direct transfer of understanding, you know.
Wow, that's amazing.
And through this, he senses this really deep and ancient wisdom coming from them.
So he's like tapping into a level of knowledge that's way beyond human intellect.
Exactly. And in their presence, you know, despite all of his accomplishments in life, he mentions having a doctorate and being a university professor. He feels insignificant.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like all of his achievements just kind of pale in comparison to the scale and wisdom he's encountering in this realm.
Yeah, like it puts things in perspective.
Absolutely. And then the being who rescued him, you know, he presents him with a choice.
Okay, this is a big moment in a lot of near-death experiences.
It is. He's given the option to stay there, you know, in what he perceives as paradise forever.
Wow.
But he makes it clear that this wasn't an easy decision. Right.
The pull to stay was really strong because of what he felt there.
So what was it about this place that made him want to stay?
He describes feeling completely at home
Hmm.
and completely enveloped in this overwhelming sense of love.
Yeah.
Like the power and intensity of this love was just immense, he says.
Wow.
It was a feeling of belonging so profound that the idea of leaving was really difficult.
So what makes him even consider going back?
Well, he thinks of his children.
Okay.
He had a daughter who was in a wheelchair because of a car accident,
Oh, that's awful.
and 3 other kids who were younger at the time.
Hmm.
And he feels this strong sense of responsibility towards them. Like his work in their lives isn't finished.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And the fear of death that he felt earlier, it comes back at the thought of returning to his body.
It's interesting how that fear kind of comes and goes.
Yeah, but the angels, they respond in a way that seems very characteristic of this realm,
They reassure him, they tell him that death, as he knows it, doesn't exist there, that it's a place of pure joy, love, and peace.
Wow.
And they basically calm his anxieties about going back.
It's like they're saying there's nothing to fear here.
Exactly. It really highlights the difference between our earthly view of death and what he's experiencing.
Right. Death isn't this scary unknown. It's just another part of this existence.
Right. And so despite the pull to stay, he makes the choice to return to his life.
Wow. That must have been tough.
Yeah. And then what follows is this interesting exchange about his body.
Like what?
Well, the rescuer turns to one of the angels and asks them to check on the container.
The container.
Yeah, clearly referring to his physical body.
Okay.
So the angel takes off, and in that moment, the man has this vision of himself lying in the ambulance with the paramedics working on him.
Wow. So like an out-of-body experience.
Exactly. And as they're waiting, he asks the rescuer this really important question.
What's that?
He asks him who he is. This being who appeared human but also radiant in this white robe.
Yeah.
And the being confirms his identity in a way that is really significant for the man.
Well?
He says, "I am the one you call Lord," identifying himself as Jesus.
Wow. So for someone with a Christian faith, who always refers to Jesus as Lord, this is huge.
It's like his faith is transformed into direct knowing.
Yeah, exactly. He's not believing anymore. He's experiencing.
Right. And after this revelation, Jesus shows this dark knowledge of the man's past,
Like what kind of knowledge?
He specifically mentions his daughter's accident and his divorces.
Wow. So like really personal stuff.
Exactly. It shows this level of empathy and awareness from Jesus.
Yeah, like he really knows this guy.
And then comes this experience of profound healing.
Oh, wow.
He describes Jesus kind of merging with him.
Merging.
Yeah, like entering his very being, and he physically feels sadness being lifted from him.
Wow, that's intense.
He describes it as this inner restoration and repair.
So like a spiritual and emotional healing.
Yeah. Exactly. But beyond this, he experiences something even more extraordinary.
Like what?
He describes a unification of consciousness.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this isn't just feeling close to Jesus. It's like an actual merging of their awareness.
So like he's experiencing things from Jesus's perspective.
Yeah, like he's gaining access to a viewpoint that's beyond human limitations.
That's incredible.
It is. And he describes gaining a simultaneous awareness of everything happening in the universe.
Like everything.
Yeah, every single object, every event unfolding.
Wow, that's mind-boggling.
He emphasizes the immense love and infinite power he felt flowing from Jesus during this union.
So it's not just knowledge, it's also feeling.
Yeah, and this experience of universal awareness, it really stands out,
How so?
Well, it suggests this radical interconnectedness, like a potential truth about reality, where individual awareness is actually part of a larger whole.
So like we're all connected.
Yeah, exactly. It's a total shift in perspective, from this singular limited viewpoint to an all-encompassing one.
Yeah, it's like going from seeing a single pixel to seeing the whole picture.
Exactly. And after this transformative encounter, he's told it's time for him to return.
Right.
The angel confirms that his body is stable, the container is good.
Right.
And Jesus tells him that he'll be sent back to his life.
Okay.
But not before showing him glimpses of his future.
Really?
Yeah, events and people he hasn't encountered yet.
Wow.
He describes it as seeing images, like watching a video screen through a hazy veil.
Interesting.
But a really important part of this is that Jesus makes it clear that his return to this heavenly realm isn't guaranteed.
Oh, wow.
It's going to depend on the choices he makes and how he lives the rest of his life.
So he still has free will.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He understands that his future spiritual journey is connected to how he lives his present life.
And that's a lot of pressure.
It is. And with this understanding, the process of returning to his body begins.
Mm-hmm.
He describes floating downwards again, seeing a light getting brighter, and then the sensation of re-entering his physical form. And you might think that, returning to his body would be a relief.
Yeah.
But he actually notes this stark contrast between the beauty and completeness of the realm he just experienced and the limitations of physical existence.
Right, like going from this perfect world back to our messy one.
Exactly. It really highlights the impact of the near-death experience.
So how does he deal with this contrast?
Well, for him, his faith has been transformed into absolute certainty. He's experienced this reality firsthand. He's encountered Jesus and the angels.
So it's not a matter of belief anymore.
No, it's a concrete experience for him.
Wow.
And it's not just a fading memory. He says that even years later, he sometimes feels their presence.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like a sense of connection and even intervention in his life.
So this experience really changed his understanding of reality.
Absolutely. It completely altered his perception of himself and his place in the universe.
Okay, so to sum it all up, this deeply personal account describes a man facing death who encounters beings he identifies as divine,
Right.
experiences this overwhelming unconditional love,
Yeah.
is presented with a choice, and has this direct and transformative interaction with Jesus,
Right.
including profound healing and a merging of consciousness.
Exactly. And one of the key insights here is this potential for communication beyond our normal senses,
Yeah, like that telepathy.
Yeah, a direct transfer of understanding.
And the experience of universal consciousness is really mind-blowing, too.
It is. It suggests this radical interconnectedness.
Right, like we're all part of something much bigger than ourselves.
Exactly. And for this guy, the nature of reality has been revealed to him in this really personal and undeniable way.
Yeah, he can't deny what he experienced.
So considering this extraordinary experience, it makes you wonder, right?
Oh, what?
Well, what does it suggest about the fundamental nature of reality and our
Yes.
understanding of what lies beyond, our current perception?
What's really out there?
Exactly. And,
Right.
and regardless of your own beliefs, how might encountering such profound love and such expansive awareness change your perspective on life and its purpose?
Yeah, it's definitely something to think about.
It really is. It's a truly compelling account.
Absolutely.